Hello, my name is Russell Feldhausen, and it is my honor to serve as the Secretary of the All Souls Board of Trustees. I'm here today to share information with you about the upcoming All Souls Annual Meeting. As required by Article 4 of our Constitution, we must hold an annual meeting of our society in May each year. This year's meeting will be held on Sunday, May 21st at 12:30 p.m. in the church's Prague auditorium. If you are unable to attend in person, the meeting will also be available via Zoom, so you can join using a computer, tablet, or smartphone, or you can even call in using a regular telephone. The information for joining on Zoom can be found on the main page of our website at allsoulskc.org. Look for the Community Connection link.
All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church, building community, inspiring growth, creating change. Here in the heart of Kansas City, we come together to create this hour of shared reflection so that we might be renewed in courage for these times and inspired to lives of greater dignity, higher purpose, deeper generosity, and more effective action. If you are new to Unitarian Universalism or to our congregation, we want to get to know you and share a part of your journey. If this place is already your spiritual home, welcome once more. We need one another, and it is good to be together again. Through the gifts of technology, we also gather virtually to celebrate community and connections as we lean into the values of justice, compassion, and reason. Welcome to all those who are joining us in this way today. Together, we learn the love that has the power to overcome both loneliness in the heart and oppression in the world. Welcome to our service this morning. May the words and music and images that we offer today nourish our best selves, calling forth abundant wisdom and love.
Arise, O souls, arise.
My friends, my church, my beloved community, good morning.
Good morning.
I am Joseph Davis. I am the firstborn son of the late, great Jean Louise Jeffries Davis, and I wish each and every one of you a happy Mother's Day. We are glad that you are here or joining us online. Hello out there in the land of zeros and ones. Now we have the pleasure of recognizing those who are visiting us for the first time today. If you are a first-time visitor, please stand or raise your hand. Our ushers have a gift for you, so please wait and sit down and lower your hand until after you receive the gift. Anyone here that is new or visiting? I know I'm seeing some rockin' shirts from the guys too, man. You, sir, win today. So there are no visitors or new people here, so you are welcome here with all of the identities that you hold and in your fullness as a person. We hope that you will bring your whole self to this service in our time together. Following the service today is our monthly enrichment class. Tour the church's beautiful grounds, Simpson House, led by Chuck Downing, and facilities manager Charles Dickinson. Learn what has been done, what is planned, and what we know of former members whose ashes have been interred in our gardens. And let's remember our annual meeting next Sunday. I understand that there is one correction. The email to voting members will be sent out today at 1 p.m. Is that correct, Bonnie? Thank you, ma'am. So put that on your calendars. This is a significant part of our church's governance. Thus, your input is very important to us.
I have a step back here. Okay. I'm going to start by pointing out that today is complicated. For many of you, when I say, Happy Mother's Day, it feels good. The recognition of mothering brings good memories and a feeling of appreciation. So, Happy Mother's Day. It's complicated, though, because this is not true for all of you. Sometimes Mother's Day is hard for many reasons. So if you feel grief or anger or isolation on this day, I see you. I understand that it's hard, that it's complicated. All of us have different experiences of mothering for our mothers, for ourselves. So let me suggest that this morning we begin by considering caregiving and the raising of children. For those who are children, may you recognize those around you who love you and take care of you. For those who are raising children, may you be supported in your holy, challenging work. For those who were once children, may you hold close to yourself the love and care shown to you, and also be gentle about the ways your caregivers fell short. For those who know children, may you show them love and kindness and support. We all need nurturing, and we all need to feel nurtured. Today, we celebrate the flower ceremony. So let me begin our time of worship with these words by Thomas Rhodes. We come in a variety of colors, shapes, and sizes. Some of us grow in bunches. Some of us grow alone. Some of us are cupped inward, and some of us spread ourselves out wide. Some of us are old and dried and tougher than we appear. Some of us are still in bud. Some of us grow low to the ground, and some of us stretch toward the sun. Some of us feel like weeds sometimes. Some of us carry seeds sometimes. Some of us are prickly sometimes. Some of us smell. And all of us are beautiful. What a bouquet of people we are. Sean, will you come forward and light our chalice?
Good morning. My name is Sean, and I light this chalice for respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part.
Please stand as you are willing and able and join in the affirmation of our covenant. Church, together we affirm that goodwill
is
the spirit of this church, and services is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and love, and to help one another. Please be seated.
As we come together in this assembly, each of us brings our gifts to offer. Individually, they are beautiful. Combined, they reveal the diversity and harmony of human community. Today, the flowers we have brought represent our uniqueness, and their combination shows the beauty and power of our connection to one another. Will you rise in body or spirit and join in song as our children bring the flowers forward?
The flowers, there you will find your sacred place. Take a seat among the flowers, and there be filled by their grace. Though you seek the sacred garden on the path of where you've been, you shall find the sacred garden waiting there from deep within. Take a seat among the flowers, there you will find your sacred place. Take a seat among the flowers, and there be filled by their grace.
I would like to invite our young people who just brought in all these flowers and just sat down to come forward and find a spot somewhere so that I can tell you something about flower ceremony. So feel free to come forward, don't be shy. Thank you so much for being here. Okay. Does this work? Maybe. And maybe if you guys come over here, I'll talk to you here, and then we can all see each other, because these flowers are beautiful and big. Gorge, yes. So today, during our service, we are celebrating our annual flower ceremony. And this year is even more special than usual because we are celebrating 100 years of people doing this ritual to share peace and joy with one another. So the thing with the bringing in the flowers and having all the flowers, people have been doing this for 100 years. That's pretty amazing. And the flower ceremony was started by, I'm hoping that we'll get a slide up here, Reverend Dr. Norbert Čapek and his wife, the Reverend Maya Čapek. Look at them. They wanted to create a special ritual for everyone in their Unitarian Universalist church in Czechoslovakia, which we now called Czechia, to share their uniquely beautiful identities with the church community. So everybody each brought a flower to symbolize how they are all different, just like flowers are all different. And they put the flowers together to show how beautiful our community becomes when we are all together. And when the people left church that day, each person took a different flower home to remind them of how the community and people that love and support them. So it all started with Norbert and Maya Čapek. And they shared this ritual every year with their church and with other churches in Czechia and in different parts of Europe and in the United States, where it eventually made its way here to Kansas City, all the way from Prague. So today, I have heard that you're going to start planting our new garden by the playground. And if the grown-ups here don't know that we have raised flower beds in the new playground, you should check it out. And I've heard that you are definitely going to be planting corn seeds. And maybe you'll be planting some flower seeds too. So even if you don't plant the flower seeds today, I promise you will soon. And given sunshine, water, and your love, those seeds will grow into flowers like the ones we have here. If you want to have flowers to share, you have to plant them. So now, as you leave while the congregation sings for you, I'm going to ask you to come to me so that I can give you one of these flowers. And then I highly recommend that you give your flower to the grown-up who brought you here so that nothing happens to it while you're planting in the garden. So, let us sing our children to their classes and come and get a flower from me.
Go now in peace, may love guide all your ways. Beauty be the blessing of your nights and days. Truth on your lips and kindness in your deeds. Faith to follow where the human spirit leads.
Reverend Erin spoke this morning of women as caregivers. This church has a very long history of generations of women who have been the engine of this church and who have given generously not only of money but especially of time. They have been the caretakers of this church. And I can think of no better way to honor them this morning than with our gifts for the offering. The offering will now be gratefully given and gratefully received. Please join me in the dedication of the offering. We dedicate our offerings and our actions to the mission at the heart of this congregation, to build a respectful, caring community, to inspire personal and spiritual growth, and to create change toward a just and compassionate society.
It is worthwhile to live and fight courageously for sacred ideals. Oh, blow ye evil winds into my body's fire. My soul you'll never unravel. Even though disappointed 1,000 times or fallen in the fight, and everything would worthless seem. I have lived amidst eternity. Be grateful, my soul. My life was worth living. He who was pressed from all sides but remained victorious in spirit is welcomed into the choir of heroes. He who overcame the fetters, giving wing to the mind, is entering into the golden age of the victorious.
From what I've heard, All Souls has been sharing the flower ceremony for quite some time. You know why you see reminders to bring flowers on a certain Sunday in the spring each year. You're used to leaving them in vases in the lobby. You're used to the children bringing them in. You know that by the end of the service, you'll come forward to have someone give you a flower that they selected for you, and to then select a flower to give to the next person. I also acknowledge that some of you here this morning haven't ever done this before and are probably unsure of what this is all about. We'll get there. But before I talk about what flower ceremony means, let's consider some history. This year, as I told the children, is the 100th anniversary of the flower ceremony. The first one was held in Prague, Czechoslovakia, on June 6th, 1923. The flower ceremony ritual was created by two ministers from Czechoslovakia named Norbert and Maja Čapek. Norbert Čapek grew up as a Roman Catholic, but when he was a teenager, he rejected Catholicism and joined the Baptist Church. And eventually, he became a Baptist minister in Bohemia and Moravia. He was a political progressive who was very influenced by the heritage of the radical, low church Protestant reformers, like the Anabaptists and the Moravian Brethren. In 1910, he became involved in the International Association for Religious Freedom, and was first introduced to British and American Unitarianism. By 1914, his increasingly outspoken criticism of the church and government hierarchy made it unsafe for him to remain in Eastern Europe, and so he accepted a call from a Slovakian Baptist church in New York City. Shortly after Norbert Čapek arrived in America with his second wife, Marie, and 8 children, Marie died suddenly of a cerebral hemorrhage. And he became a tireless advocate for the right of the Czech people to form an independent nation at the end of the First World War. And he raised money, He collected clothing to help those in need in Czechoslovakia during that war. And after 3 years, he married another Czech expatriate in America, Maja Oktivek. I looked it up, Oktivek. And in 1919, he formally renounced his ties to the Baptist Church. But then their children discovered the Sunday school program of the East Orange Unitarian Church in New Jersey. And then Norbert and Maja also joined it, and they became Unitarians themselves. Now, by 1921, Norbert and Maja decided that they had to return to their homeland so that they could help to create the free nation that they had worked so hard to support. And a major part of their hope included starting a new Unitarian church in Prague, a church that would be accepting of all people and not set neighbor against neighbor, as some of the older churches seem to have done. People from many different religious backgrounds responded to the Čapek's liberal ideas, and that new congregation grew quickly. It eventually became the largest Unitarian church in the world, with more than 3,000 members. After several years, Maja was also ordained to the ministry there. And in 1923, Norbert and Maja created the ceremony that we celebrate today, in which each member is invited to bring a flower to the Sunday service, where they were combined together in one vase and blessed by the congregation. Then everyone took a different flower home with them as a reminder of the gifts that are found in community. 15 years after the first flower ceremony, Nazi Germany annexed Czechoslovakia. And Gestapo agents began monitoring the activities of the Unitarian Church in Prague. And the Čapeks had to make a difficult decision, that Maja would go back to the United States so that she could raise money for resistance against the German Reich and to spread the message of what was happening in Eastern Europe. She left in February of 1939. And even though the American Unitarian Association offered Norbert a job so that he too would be able to leave, he considered it his duty to his parishioners and his nation to remain with them. Norbert and Maja never saw each other again. In 1942, Norbert Čapek and his 29-year-old daughter Zora were arrested by the Gestapo on charges of listening to foreign radio broadcasts, which was a capital crime. Zora was sent to a German work camp where she survived the war. Norbert was condemned to the Dachau concentration camp. And in December of that year, he was gassed to death at the age of 72, one of many martyrs who have died for the ideals of human freedom, reason, kinship, and peace. And it was Maja who brought the practice of the flower celebration back to America with her. And she introduced it to the Unitarian churches in Cambridge and New Bedford, Massachusetts. She worked first at the headquarters of the American Unitarian Association in Boston, and later for the United Nations Relief and Rehabilitation Agency, including for a number of years as a displaced persons specialist in Egypt and Palestine. She died in California in 1966. Unitarians in Czechoslovakia, and now the Czech Republic, which rebranded in the last decade to the shorter Czechia, still celebrate the flower ceremony every year. Mostly, its continuation is for its beautiful simplicity and theological meaning. And after World War II, flower ceremony has been a way to memorialize Norbert Čapek, remembering his ministry and his devotion to his people's liberation that led to his tragic death. We practice this too. And we tell Norbert and Maya's story so that we can always remember them and how they shaped our greater faith.
My life is made worthwhile by fighting bravely on for those ideals I hold most great and holy. Though evil winds may blow, they will not rock the calm in my soul, which remains both quiet and lowly. I might be disappointed, I might fall in the fight, but I am sure that my life was worth living. For heaven waits for those whose spirits have won through. But I am sure that my life was worth living, and they will find the sun, whose minds have let them rise, and stand against the darkness and the mayhem. The life which is to come has been my holy shrine. I trust that I have lived a life worth giving. I trust that I have lived a life worth giving.
Hello.
Good morning. A field of purple flowers in Latvia with small lights reflected on them. Enter into the communion of the flower with joyful hearts. Enter with reverent thoughts. It has taken long months beneath cold ground for these flowers to prepare their blooming. It has taken each of us long times of growth through sorrow and joy to prepare for our living now. The blooming season is short. The flowers stay only a brief time. We are travelers upon the earth, travelers through all too brief lifetimes. Therefore, let our moments be bountiful. Let us rejoice in our unique colors, aromas, and sounds. Let us celebrate together in love, that as we travel away, we take with us the memory of golden hours together among the flowers.
Before I delve into my reflection, I just want to make sure that you are aware that the reading before the story about the Čapeks was written by Norbert Čapek, And the song that Darrington just sang was also written by Norbert Čapek. I first experienced a flower ceremony in my mid-20s at the first Universalist church in Minneapolis. And I'll admit, I don't remember much from it. And I don't know why I can't picture the flowers in the sanctuary or the exact way that we received our flowers to take with us, but I do remember that I brought home a purple allium. And I love allium, and Melanie brought an allium today. And that flower sat in water on my desk at home until it formed seeds, and I could hold them in my hand. For whatever reason, the UU Church of Rockford, Illinois did not have flower ceremony in the 80s and 90s when I was growing up there. We had water communion and a weird harvest apple communion. I liked it, but when I look back on it, I'm like, that was weird. But never flowers. I told a very simplistic story to the children this morning about the beginning of flower ceremony. And there are other longer versions that my colleagues have written over the years. And most of them talk about how Norbert Čapek wanted to bring color and liveliness into his dull Spartan church. That he was walking in a garden surrounded by flowers, or walking along the city street and found a single flower growing up between the cracks on the pavement, and then he suddenly had the idea for flower ceremony. It's a cute story, and it's appropriate for kids. But the truth is that he was explicitly seeking a ritual with a symbol that would bring his congregation together. A symbol unlike what other religious traditions were doing. Togetherness was central to Čapek's ministry. Many of his congregants were atheists. Do we know any place like that? And his rapidly growing church included a wide diversity of religious backgrounds. So he needed to create a ritual that showed commonality among differences. Flowers of all different kinds in one basket or vase. For him, flowers represented God's presence. They were divine because it is impossible for a person to create a live flower. So flower ceremony for him was also about recognizing God. So there was nothing spontaneous about the creation of the flower ceremony. It was calculated to best resonate with the congregation, and it worked. They loved it. And the flowers took on even greater meaning, becoming the symbol of Czech Unitarianism. It's been 100 years since the first flower ceremony in Prague. It's been 83 years since Maya Čapek came to the US, leaving her family and bringing flower ceremony with her. 81 years ago, Norbert Čapek died in the gas chamber. And here we are, having flower ceremony in Kansas City. This symbol, this ritual is still important to us. And it makes me think of my roommate the first time I went to seminary at Meadville Lombard in Chicago. Her name was Eva, spelled with an I. And when I knew her 18 years ago, she was 63 and a grandmother. She was from Prague. I didn't know to ask her about flower communion because I'd never done flower communion before. And I didn't get a chance to ask her what it meant to her. But man, I wish I had. This is a piece of flower ceremony that we don't often talk about. The fact that we have Unitarian siblings in Czechia. And their Unitarianism is a unique adaptation of American Unitarianism. And yet, the Unitarianism in Czechia is completely separate in its origins from our partner congregation in Romania and the other congregations there and in Hungary. Those began in the 16th century. We have Unitarian siblings in many different parts of the world. It's not just us sitting here at All Souls. It's bigger than the Unitarian Universalist Association, which is the coming together of all of the congregations in the US with a complicated connection to those in Canada. Unitarians and Unitarian congregations are in the most wonderful and surprising places. So I hope that as you look at our gathered flowers this morning, you see next to them the flowers of other congregations near us and throughout the world, all celebrating flower ceremony. So many of us have connected to this simple ritual. And over time, what we focus on with these flowers has bit by bit shifted from Norbert Čapek's intention. We don't talk about God's presence in the flowers. And in Prague, during the 1920s and 30s, the children brought the flowers back out of the sanctuary after they were blessed, placing them in the lobby where the vase was when everyone had come in. So yes, everyone took a flower with them as they left, but it was an individual act that they did in the lobby. And it actually symbolized freedom. Today, as has been done here for years, you will come forward to receive a flower from the person ahead of you, and you will choose a flower to give to the person behind you. Our togetherness is not something that we view and ponder upon before it is removed from the room. It is something that we touch, recognizing that our flowers are not simply held together by the vase, but by our relationships to one another. Even if we have not met, in this moment, we give and we receive, connecting one to the next. I have colleagues who ask their congregations to be intentional about the flower that they pick for the next person in line. Some way in which that specific flower calls that specific person to mind. And you can do that if you want, but no pressure. Colleagues like Elizabeth Strong, who wrote the poem that Cheryl just read, have reflected on the life cycle of plants and flowers and used the symbol to wonder how each of us pushes through adversity and grows and flourishes. And I suggested to the children this morning that it is our care for the flowers, our act of planting them, that encourages them to live and bloom, that by nurturing them, we might share them. So many things and people in our lives that we must plant, that we must encourage, that we must nourish to allow for growth and connection, to share. I am thankful that Reverend Dr. Norbert Čapek and Reverend Maya Čapek created the flower ceremony and shared it with Unitarians here in the U.S. Intentionally simple and modest, the symbolism is rich and deep, and we have had the opportunity to explore where it can go. So I hope that you will look upon and ponder this gorgeous, diverse, glowing community of flowers. What is it telling you? How does it make you feel? There is no single right meaning of flower ceremony. We bring our hearts to it and notice what comes forth. May you find meaning in these flowers. May you recognize our community, diverse and beautiful, together in these vases. May you know that even after you have received a flower and given one and gone forth into the day and week ahead, you are not alone. May it be so. There we go. The ritual of the flower ceremony demonstrates that religious community is a pattern of giving and receiving. At this time in our service, all of you have the opportunity to come forward. We'll start kind of from the front and move back, and maybe come in through the center aisle and out through the sides, and form two lines. And each person will select a flower to give to the person who stands behind them in line. And when you have both received and given a flower, please return to your seat. But first, listen to these words from Norbert Čapek. He wrote this blessing for the flowers just before they were distributed, as it was celebrated in his church.
For the 100th year, in the name of Providence, which implants in the seed the future of the tree, and in the hearts of people the longing for people to live in human love. In the name of the highest, in whom we move, and who makes the parents and ancestors and the siblings what they are. In the name of sages and great religious leaders, who sacrificed their lives to hasten the coming of peace and justice, let us renew our resolution sincerely to be real siblings, regardless of any kind of bar which estranges one from another. In this holy resolution, may we be strengthened, knowing that we are God's family, that one Spirit, the Spirit of love, unites us. And may we endeavor for a more perfect and more joyful life. Amen. Now please come forward forming two lines to receive your flower and select a flower to give the person behind you.
Pick one. Pick one first.
Faith is a flower.
Good morning.
Blessed in our sharing. Love is a spirit shared in our giving. Life is a promise given in blessing. Blessed in our sharing. a spirit shared in our giving. Life is a promise given in blessing. Faith is a flower blessed in our sharing. Love is a spirit shared in our giving. Life is a promise given in blessing. Faith is a flower blessed in our sharing. Love is a spirit shared in our giving. Life is a promise given in blessing. Faith is a flower blessed in our sharing. Love is a spirit shared in our giving. Life is a promise given in blessing. Faith is a flower blessed in our sharing. Love is a spirit shared in our giving. Life is a promise given in blessing. Faith is a flower blessed in our sharing. Love is a spirit shared in our giving. Life is a promise given in blessing. Faith is a flower blessed in our sharing. Love is a spirit shared in our giving. Life is a promise given in blessing. Faith is a flower blessed in our sharing. Love is a spirit shared in our giving. Life is a promise given in blessing. Faith is a flower blessed in our sharing. Love is a spirit shared in our giving. Life is a promise given in blessing. Faith is a flower blessed in our sharing. Love is a spirit shared in our giving. Life is a promise given in blessing. Faith is a flower blessed in our sharing. Love is a spirit shared in our giving. Life is a promise given in blessing. Faith is a flower blessed in our sharing. Love is a spirit shared in our giving. Life is a promise given in blessing. Faith is a flower blessed in our sharing. Love is a spirit shared in our giving. Life is a promise given in blessing. Faith is a flower blessed in our sharing. Love is a spirit shared in our giving. Life is a promise given in blessing. Faith is a flower blessed in our sharing. Love is a spirit shared in our giving. Life is a promise given in blessing. Faith is a flower blessed in our sharing. Love is a spirit shared in our giving. Life is a promise given in blessing.
I need to go over there. We release this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Now may we bear this flower in our hearts, even when it has vanished from our hands, a silent witness to the ideals that summon us to reverence, in remembrance of the countless gifts of beauty and steadfast care given and received in this beloved community.
Love, bless your way. Moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace and the brightness of day.